UFC 326 is here, and I'm going to be giving you my predictions and breakdown. If you are looking for my prediction and breakdown on the Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira fight, it'll be closer towards the end of the video. So skip through if you would like to see that. And now, let's get straight to it. Luke Fernandez versus Rodolfo Bellato. Now, I am not choosing Rodolfo Bellato to win a fight. I just can't do it after the Paul Craig situation where he got up kicked and it may or may not have knocked him out. You know what I mean? Like, he could have faked it. We don't really know. But I don't know. I don't think Luke Fernandez is some world beater or anything, but I believe he will be good enough to knock out the chinny Rodolfo Bellato in round 1. Moving up next, Zhongyong Lee versus Gaston Bolaños. Now, oh my goodness. Zhongyong Lee, man, I picked him in the Haider Emil fight leading up to that, but he just, I don't know, he's just kind of dumb. Like, he came in to the UFC as this highly touted kickboxer, but he just doesn't have the IQ to utilize his skills properly, in my opinion, right? Gaston Bolaños is moving up, and I don't think he's very good either, but I do believe he'll be good enough to kind of outwork Zhang Young Lee. I think Zhang Young Lee is probably going to gas himself out, and Gaston Bolaños is going to take over as the fight goes on and win a decision. Interesting fight though, pretty close. Moving up, Rafael Tobias versus Nurgazai. I I understand how poor my pronunciation of his name was, but it's because he sucks. I don't think he deserves to have his name fully pronounced. No, all jokes aside, Rafael Tobias is gonna start this guy in round 1. Nurgazai is not UFC caliber. Um, yeah, man, that's really all there is to it. Whew, let's see. Moving up next, Sumo Darji versus Jesus Aguilar. I'm picking Sumo Darji, man. Jesus Aguilar is not bad. He has some decent power in his hands. He's short and stocky for the division. He's explosive. But Sumo Darji, he's been in wars. He's experienced. He does also have power. He's slick on the feet as well. Like, when he's winning fights, he is winning them clearly. And I think it's going to be the same situation here. Um, I believe it was his fight against Matt Schnell where Matt Schnell came back. But up until that point where Matt Schnell started to take over after Sumo Darji gassed out, Sumo Darji was piecing him up, looking like a top-level striker in the division. So, I'm going to pick Sumo Darji by decision. Also because I don't think he's going to get a finish against Jesus Aguilar's brick on his neck. Moving up to the prelims. Cody Durden versus Niamanjar. You feel me? Like, Tumen Dimbaral. Tumen Dimbaral. There we go. Tumen Dimbaral. I'll take one name out of the two. I think Cody Durden's gonna get a decision victory here, and I'm gonna explain. Tumen Dimbaral is actually very good on the. I'm not gonna say very. He's pretty good on the ground. His submission game's nice, but usually when these guys, who I don't believe at least are ranked caliber, go up against Cody Durden, he usually squeaks out a victory. He's kind of like the Neil Magny of the flyweight division, if that makes sense. So I think Cody Durden's gonna outwork him with the wrestling, keep control time, just keep putting him on the mat and getting the decision win. Up next, Ricky Turcios versus Alberto Montes. I went back and forth on this one. When I was picking my fights on Tapology. And I'm going with Alberto Montes by decision. Ricky Turcios. It's very hard for me to pick him when his way of winning fights is just like they don't even have to be in range. He's just throwing them to throw them. And sometimes it works. but he's not that same gritty guy that was on the Ultimate Fighter. We saw his fight against Raul Rosas. I don't know, man. He didn't look very good in that fight, so it's kind of hard for me to want to pick him if he's constantly, at least he's not getting better, right? He's not getting better, which is hard. So I'm gonna go with Alberto Montes by decision. I think he's gonna outwork him. I don't believe he's gonna get a finish. I think Ricky Turcios is a little weasel. He's a little cockroach. He's gonna cockroach his way to a decision. Up next, Dante Johnson versus Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage, your time has come. You cannot fluke your way out of this one, buddy. Dante Johnson just came off of a Contender Series victory by brutal knockout at heavyweight. And he just cut down to middleweight. And we think Cody Brundage has a chance? No, we don't. We don't. Dante Johnson is going to kill Cody Brundage in the first minute and a half. Brutal KO, Dante Johnson. Cody Brundage, his only chance is like his chances in every other fight if he gets fouled, which somehow happens to him in every fight. So, hoping that doesn't happen. Dante Johnson, hook him and get him out of here, please. Moving up next, Cody Garbrandt versus Zhao Long. Now, if you were to pick a Cody Garbrandt victory in any fight, this would be the one. But I just am not gonna do that. I'm just not gonna do that. I think he's gonna get caught by Zhao Long. Zhao Long has decent power on the feet. I don't think he's that skilled though. I just think Cody Garbrandt is so past it in his career. Like, man, I want to pick Cody Garbrandt so bad, but just look at him. Just look at him, man. And the Honey Barcelos fight really, it really told me something. And I understand Honey Barcelos is now viewed as this ranked caliber fighter, right? But at the same time, man, Cody Garbrandt hasn't looked good against anyone since like Brian Kelleher. Or was it Darius Flowers he looked okay against, but come on, man. I don't know. I'm not even saying Zhao Long has ranked potential or anything, but I just believe he is quick enough and is powerful enough to knock out Cody Garbrandt. Oh, I'm hoping for a Cody Garbrandt victory. I don't believe his grappling is skilled enough to neutralize the striking of Zhao Long. And unless he catches Zhao Long, I don't see him getting a victory. I don't think his cardio is any good. So, yeah. Zhao Long by first round. You know what? I'll say second round knockout. Moving up. Great fight. Great fight. Now, why this fight is being booked, though, I don't know. This fight already happened. Bruno Ferreira got a brutal knockout. And leading up to this card, I have been thinking Bruno Ferreira was going to win. I thought it was just going to be a repeat. But the more I think about this and looking back at the Abus Magomedov fight with Bruno Ferreira, man, Gregory Rodriguez could do exactly what Abus did. Now, I know Gregory Rodriguez cardio is not all there, but I'm going to be picking Gregory Rodriguez by submission in the second round. Late second round submission. Assuming he survives, I think he's going to land big shots on the feet. I think he's going to target the body a lot, mix up the grappling as well, get Bruno Ferreira thinking, because that was the problem in the first fight. Gregory Rodriguez was so confident in his striking that he didn't entertain the grappling much, and he got overzealous, pinning Bruno Ferreira up against the fence, and he got knocked out. He left himself open and got knocked out. I think he's learned from that. I think he's going to mix up the grappling, eventually tire him out, and late in the second round, probably by arm triangle. So, yeah, Gregory Rodriguez gets his revenge. Moving up, Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. We all know how this shit goes, right? We all know how this shit goes. Drew Dober has a few kryptonites, but this is not one of them. Um, I hope Michael Johnson wins. I'm a big fan of Michael Johnson, but this is Drew Dober's bread and butter. First round knockout Drew Dober. First round knockout Drew Dober. I mean, this is his specialty. We all know why. Don't need to say it. And is it kind of weird? Yes, it is. But Michael Johnson's chinny, and even if he wasn't, um, you know, Michael Johnson, I would still pick Drew Dober to win. I just think the style matchup is not in favor of Michael Johnson at all. I think maybe his quickness will be enough to catch Drew Dober and then fall out and then catch him again. I don't know. I'm gonna pick Drew Dober by knockout round one. I want Michael Johnson to win, but looking back on his performance against Daniel Zellhuber, we just saw Bobby Green knock out Daniel Zellhuber. Bobby Green knocked out Daniel Zellhuber. So it kind of makes me value that win a little less. So yeah, Drew Dober gets it done. Moving up, Rob Font versus Raul Rosas. I think it's too early for Raul. I don't think his striking is that developed. He's so young though. He could have developed in such a short amount of time. And I'm a fan of Raul, Chiwibis and all that. But Rob Font is solid, and Rob Font is the gatekeeper of this division. I think he's gonna pick him apart on the feet. He might go through some trouble in round one. We saw Corey Sandhagen take him down a few times, but I don't think he's going to be fearing the striking of Raul Rosas. And I think in the Corey Sandhagen fight, he took it on short notice. He was preparing for a striker as well. So it's kind of a weird situation there. It's kind of hard to compare the two. But if we look back at Raul Rosas' past few fights, he hasn't looked incredible. He hasn't looked incredible at all. He gets it done, but his level of competition isn't all there. He says he wants to retire by 25. What? I don't know if he'll ever be champion, but I hope he gets there. Seeing a kid his age, my age, get as far as he has, that's just inspiring to me. So I'm hoping Raul reaches the moon. But right now, I think Rob Font is still a little too good. Maybe another year of development, Raul cracks the rankings. Um, but yeah, I think Rob Font's gonna get this done by decision. Moving up, Caio Borralho versus Reiner de Ritter. Now, it'd be easy to pick Caio because he's always solid. He always looks all right. And Reiner de Ritter just got destroyed by Brendan Allen and quit on the stool. Yeah. But if you look into that and if you believe the word of Reiner de Ritter, he just overworked himself and he said it himself. He had very low red blood cell count, so his recoverability is not all there. And he cut weight like 5 times in a year. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's obviously not going to be good for your health, especially when you're as big as RDR is. Um. So yeah, if we erase the Brendan Allen destruction from our memory, I think most of us would pick RDR, right? I think it's just a bad matchup for Kyle. I think Kyle's specialties in the grappling, and I don't think he's better than RDR on the ground. I think RDR's striking is I don't know if I'll say better, right? But those knees are gonna have effect long term. So yeah, I think RDR is gonna land knees to the body. Kyle has a large torso, big target there for him. RDR might use the kicks a little bit. I think Kyle's faster, especially with the boxing. But I don't think he has that finishing ability that all the other fighting nerds do. You feel me? Like, I don't think he has that X factor. He's solid all around. He's very well rounded. But RDR, there's something about him. He's very dynamic. He has that Dutch kickboxing style, and on the ground he's slick. So yeah, I think RDR might hurt him to the body a few times, but I think he'll get a decision win. So yeah, moving up to the main event, what we've all been waiting for: Max Holloway, Blessed versus Charles Dubronx Oliveira. Leading up to this card, now I know I've had a lot of switch ups on this card, right? I'm picking a few underdogs, but leading up to this card, I'm thinking the whole time Max is just gonna destroy Charles. I think he's gonna be able to neutralize the grappling and just piece up Charles on the feet and eventually knock him out. I think Charles is a little bit past it, but he still looks good. But I don't know, man. Max is on a different level of lightweight. But the more I think about this fight, man, the more I think about this fight and the more I think about their past opponents, I'm picking Charles Oliveira. I'm picking Charles Oliveira as the underdog. A lot of underdogs for me on this card. But Max Holloway has been dropped in his last 3 fights. We can excuse the Ilia Topuria one. And you know what? Gaethje clipped him, and it was kind of a knockdown. But Dustin Poirier, that was a bad knockdown. That was bad. And you could say the same thing about Charles. He's a little bit chinny. But Charles also has that power, man. Charles has power, and Max does too. But Charles has power, and when he drops guys, he locks up a submission instantly. We saw it against Justin Gaethje. You know, he took damage, got dropped a few times, knocked down Justin Gaethje, and Justin didn't get back up. And Max Holloway, he hasn't really fought. He hasn't fought a grappler at the level of Charles Oliveira besides Ilia Topuria in his entire career. And Ilia Topuria didn't target the grappling against Max Holloway. Charles Oliveira's wrestling has gotten better by leaps and bounds in his last few performances. Now, maybe not the Ilia fight, but he just bullied Mateusz Gamrot. Bullied him. And bullied Michael Chandler. Now, I feel like he should have finished Michael Chandler, but that's neither here nor there. He still dominated that fight, barring the 5th round. But man, I can't erase the thoughts of Charles Oliveira dropping Max Holloway and locking up a submission. I can't erase that thought. Now, Max could piece him up the entire fight, as I expected a few days ago, right? Before I really started researching this fight and looking at tape. But Charles Oliveira, man. Charles do Bronx, the Lion. I think he's going to get it done by 2nd round submission, dropping Max Holloway, and end up getting dominant position and probably getting a RNC. Those are my predictions and my breakdown. Charles do Bronx. I'll see y'all later.